Hello, Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Fire Force Chapter 270. When we last left our heroes, we went back to Earth again to kind of check in on Vulcan, who, along with you, reunites with Company 8. We get a cute little Lisa Yu reunion moment, and then immediately starts talking to Victor about a lot of what Victor's kind of worked out. And Victor has kind of moved into a much more meta take than the kind of nihilism I was initially reading his view as, in that, like, as Fire Force is becoming more overt in its status as a story, the emotional cocktail that creates the cataclysm is determined more and more by the main characters and not sort of the background characters. Explicitly Dragon, who is both a main villain and is just such a strong source of despair that he sort of is one of the leading figures of the despair in the Cataclysm. We'll see exactly how accurate his view is. There's still that Joker line a while back, where Joker kind of chastises Victor for discounting the power of a mob. But we'll see how all that plays in, because we then go back to space, where the battle just kind of continues, and sort of culminating in Arthur stabbing Dragon in the chest and Dragon clawing Arthur through the chest. And that's where we left off last time. So let's jump right on into Chapter 270, What Dwells in the Sword. And our picture here is just space. Within the vast silvery flow of the Milky Way, a single speck of light, as Dragon and Night King decide the fate of the world. We open kind of where we left off, with Dragon's claws through Arthur's chest. Desperate, deadly attacks intersect. Who will win? But Dragon seems much better off here. Like, Arthur kind of ragged, beat up, and Dragon does not seem as... Dragon is still kind of standing tall, as much as one can stand in space. And Arthur just roars, "Ugh! Ugh!" And then slices through Dragon, and I think Dragon kind of slices through him. And Arthur, like, kicks off of Dragon's chest. Arthur does seem the worse for wear there, as he's kind of grunting in pain, as Dragon still kind of grins, as I think Arthur's blood kind of splashes him in the face. And yeah, there's just two giant holes in Arthur now. As Dragon grins, "I've never felt this before. The both of us are close to death, I can tell. Don't disappoint me right before the end." And Arthur comes in for another attack, standing strong. "No disappointment lies in store for you. Fear not, I will defeat you." And they just go at it again, right back into the thick of it. Another swipe from Dragon, another slash from Arthur. But I think Arthur loses that clash. And Dragon goes in for a fist that Arthur barely deflects with his arm and Excalibur. And Arthur tries to push him back, and Dragon readies a flame breath, shocking Arthur. Dragon lets loose. I can't quite tell if Arthur is hit there. He seems to kind of like lean back and maybe miss it, or maybe he takes the full brunt of it. No, he's kind of right on the outside. Damaged a little bit. His hood is like blown off now. But he's still standing. As he brings in for another sword slash that Dragon catches on his armored arm. And Arthur readies his next blow, but I think that's Dragon grabbing him by the neck, I think, before Arthur can do any real damage. And also cutting Arthur, like, we see a gash from, like, here over his eye. But because Arthur is so close to Dragon, he can now just skewer him. And go on the attack again, now slashing Dragon's chest. And the two of them, somehow that blast slams them back onto the moon. As Arthur bleeds from his new wound, we don't see the injured eye here. He might be eyeless, or missing his right eye. But yeah, the two of them just kind of stare each other down. Arthur atop Dragon now, as Dragon grins at him with the sword in his chest. As I think Dragon goes for a headbutt on Arthur, as Arthur shouts, "If I let you despair, the world will burn away." And we see Arthur's damaged eye is closed. We can't really see the extent of the damage to it. But Dragon does not really respond except with another flame breath, this time hitting Arthur full on in the face. And then I guess a second or so passes, because Dragon gets up, and Arthur is standing now, as he boasts, "The Night King will never lose. I wouldn't let things end here." I love this image of Arthur battered, bloody, blood just streaming down the lower half of his face, but still with his one working eye glaring at Dragon. As he continues, "If the world burns away, he will have nothing left to protect when he opens his eyes." Oh, boys, for Shinra? Oh, that's some good shit there. "I made an oath. I'd save you, defeat the dragon, and find a way to help him. And the Night King never breaks an oath." And Dragon just stares him down. "You really think you can vanquish me and come back in one piece?" And Arthur lets out a little sigh before he continues. "I vowed to come back alive. You're just being greedy. Nobody faces the dragon and comes back alive." And Arthur just... we see the blood on his face kind of drying. It's a distinctly like lighter shade now. "I've planned to since the very beginning." And he rushes it at Dragon for what might be their final clash. "Arrgh! Arrgh!" And Dragon rushes to meet him. "Arrgh! Arrgh!" And they hit. Arm meets sword. Arthur brings it down to like Dragon's like elbow. And makes another, and barely gets out of the way, actually, for one of Dragon's flame breaths, that hits some stars and just explodes them all through the sky, as the two of them just keep on going at it. Arthur gets another good clean gash on Dragon, but Arthur in turn is just pummeled by Dragon. He hits the surface of the moon, gets it flying off of it. And Dragon just stands there, I think, missing an arm. Arthur has cut off his left arm. We just see the blood flowing from the stump. As Arthur is just on the ground, kneeled over, as Dragon looks at him. "Give it up. You're going to die here." And Arthur looks at him. "Yeah, you might be right. The press of death. I learned it back in Asakusa. We haven't seen that in a while, but that won't work. The press of death is just an acknowledgement of death. It wouldn't be enough to defeat Dragon. I need a singular, final flash. Steeled for death." And Arthur looks up at him in pure determination, ready to die. He shows the ultimate determination. He puts everything he has on the line, winner take all. To be continued chapter 271, Hope Lies in Death. Okay. I'm now, let's say 70-30 Arthur dies here. I think there's a good 70% chance Okubo kills him off. Just the way this chapter is written. When we had that "I vowed to live," I was like, okay. I was never really convinced that Arthur would die here. I just thought it was a distinct possibility Arthur would die here, killing Dragon. Definitely he will kill Dragon. Dragon is dying here, and Arthur might go with him. But after the whole "I vowed to return alive," I was like, okay, Arthur's probably going to survive. He'll lose the eye. I think the eye is permanently gone. But he's still, he'll make it out alive. Hold on, I'm looking at this. Did Arthur lose his left arm? Because I'm looking at, specifically, page, starting with the pronouncement of "If the world burns away, he will have nothing left to protect when he opens his eyes." And we don't really see... Yeah, because there are a lot of panels here that's kind of blurry, but there's nothing distinct on his left, at the end of his left arm, to be a hand. But I think at the bottom of 13, his arm just cuts off at the wrist. I don't know when Arthur lost... Oh, I feel like it might have been... Let me look at page 12-ish. Because he stabs... I'm trying to see the last time we see his hand. So on page 12, his left hand is pretty firmly in Dragon's blast. So he might have lost his hand there. I'm trying to see when the last time we see it before then is. There's a lot of action lines, a lot of dirt and grime and blood all covering this chapter, and it's hard to make shit out sometimes. So I think he still has his hand at the bottom left of page 9, because that looks like a two-handed slash he does on Dragon. Which would imply he still has the hand, and then loses it in the blast. So Arthur is now down a hand and an eye. Dragon is just down a hand, and most of an arm, I think. No, hold on. What's that on page? So on page 19, that middle panel there, we see Arthur's left arm on the ground, and then what's either his hand or the torn part of his pants revealing his knees. It look like there's a gap between the two, so I think he doesn't have a left hand anymore. I think. It's hard to, yeah, because it's burned off, and then we see the knee. He did lose his hand! Holy shit! Arthur lost his hand! Okay. Alright. Wow! And an eye. Lost a hand and an eye. Dragon has lost an arm. This is just a brutal fight. I mean, it's great. It's, I called it could very easily turn out to be one of my favorite manga fights of all time. And it's just good. It's just action-packed. We get, I am a sucker for big, cheesy shonen speeches. So Arthur's whole, the Night King will never lose. If the world burns away, he will have nothing left to protect when he opens his eyes. The Night King never breaks an oath. I vowed to come back alive. I planned it in the very beginning. It hits. That hits and hits and hits and hits and keeps on fucking hitting. Yeah, there's nothing quite like this fight. Holy shit, this fight is so good. But now, I got really distracted with that hand analysis. I was discussing earlier about my shifting thoughts on Arthur's probability of death. Once we got to that vowed to come back alive bit, I'm like, okay, he'll probably survive. Down an eye, down a hand. But that steeled for death, it can't just be an acknowledgement of death. He has to basically die for a single flash of a moment. I think Arthur could die. I think it's more than likely he will die. Again, 70-30, Arthur dies. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Holy shit, this chapter. Holy shit, Fire Force. Holy fucking shit. This series is so good. Yeah, there's nothing else to say, but holy shit. I guess I could say, again, in the same kind of vein as going back to the hand, both Arthur and Dragon's left hands, is the same kind of confidence Okubo had with the teleportation magic. How he doesn't really need to explain it. He just presents the evidence and trusts his audience to make the connections that are very clearly there. Which, again, is fucking great. And I love it. But yeah, after that, holy shit, this series is so good. Holy shit, this series is so good. And lastly, holy shit, this series is so good. So I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, do whatever makes you happy, And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!